You're listening to Stories to Create with your host, Cornell Bunting. Author, motivational speaker, and founder of ES Each Episode. Cornell sits down with inspiring voices to uncover the stories that shape who we are and who we're becoming. Get ready to listen, learn, and be inspired. The show starts now.
Yes. Welcome to another episode of Stories to Create podcast right here at ES Club. I'm your host, Cornell Bunting. Excited today. I'm always excited. You guys know it. Listen, today we are hanging out with a digital creator. She's also a mortgage advisor, doing it big in the networking space in Southwest Florida. I'm telling you guys, and I know you guys say, we don't see a lot of active Indian in the space. Hey, she's very active. So we are going to be talking today to none other than Puja Romero. Welcome to the show, love.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yes, this is so good. And I just was recalling, I think we spoke, a little bit back, and I was saying, I was talking about another Indian lady that I'm good friends with, that you guys have had on the show already, and of course, but you guys have you guys come from somewhat the same place, yes?
Yeah, I actually know Priya really well.
She knows Priya, people. It's a beautiful thing. But when did you move to America?
I was actually born here. I was born
Look at that.
Yes.
Look at that. So the family moved there at an early age.
Yes. My parents moved here right after they were married.
Okay.
And then my sister, my brother, and I were all born right here in Florida.
Look at that right there. So look at that, guys. You guys get a nice little taste of what the tale is with Puja about to take us back. So the early years, you were born here in Florida?
Yes, in Fort Lauderdale.
Okay. Further south.
Yes.
This is good. What was school life like? What was that like?
So my parents moved over to Sanibel Island when I was 2. So,
Stop.
Yeah.
For real? Yo, that's my stomping ground. Well, a lot of you guys know when I first moved here, I lived on Captiva. So
Oh, nice.
that is dope right there.
Yeah. We probably lived there. Well, when did you move here?
2000.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I moved off the island in 99.
Wow. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, my parents had their businesses on the island. My family actually had businesses on the island for over 40 years.
Wow. Okay.
They just closed. My mom and my sister had the latest business. They actually closed it in 2021, the year before Hurricane Ian hit. So my mom was ready to retire, so it all worked out, perfect timing. But yeah, growing up on the island was amazing.
Nice.
I went to elementary school out there. We were, we had the same group of friends. There was 30 kids in the class, all the way from kindergarten to 5th grade. So we all grew up together. We all hung out together. We rode our bikes all over the island.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was a great place to grow up.
And I know the sports wasn't crazy over there, but was there any sports that you wanted to get into that you didn't get into?
I did play softball on the island when I got into middle school. We did go off island for middle school and high school. There is a middle school now on the island, but when I was there, it was just elementary.
Right.
So we went to Cypress Middle and Cypress High, but I did play soccer once I was in middle school. I'm not an athletic person. I don't have an athletic bone in my body. I just, I did it too. I wanted to hang out with friends and, just try something. But yeah.
That's good.
That stuff is not for me.
I got to say, females get away with this. They could be terrible at any sport, but as long as they're participating, we good. But the boys, they'll call the boys out immediately. You guys are terrible. I'm going to put you on the bench. But you're pretty and you're a female. Go out there. We could be losing bad. It didn't really matter. You guys just have fun.
Right.
How engaging was your parents with you?
They were business owners, so my mom didn't work a lot. My dad had his business, so he was at the store a lot. My mom would go to the store in the morning. She would, when we would get home, she would be home for us in the evening.
Nice.
But my parents are very involved in the community. My mom hosted huge parties all the time, and she literally cooked.
Yeah.
She had 50 guests. She cooked for those 50 guests, and she was
Amazing.
serving dinner on regular plates. Me,
Right.
you're getting paper plates that you can throw away.
Yeah.
You know, I have the family helping cooking. So she did a lot.
That's
They were,
beautiful.
yeah.
We, with you having such a broad background, right? Because one, you wasn't really around the culture in India.
Right.
So what was that like for you on the island? Did your mom make sure you guys understood what the culture was like?
Yeah, we were always, we had a lot of family gatherings, and all the parties that she had was a lot of people in the India Association.
Okay,
So
okay.
we were always around the culture.
Okay.
It would have been nice, I wouldn't say to grow up in India. I'm glad I grew up here, but it's different when you're in India and the culture. We went for my cousin's wedding in India probably around 7 or 8 years ago.
Yeah.
He lives in California, but he really wanted to do the traditional Indian wedding in India.
Yeah.
So we got to experience that, that was really neat. My husband went, our 2 kids, the whole family, my mom, my sister, my brother, and yeah, he came in on the elephant. It was gorgeous.
That is dope. Was that, because I think you have an image on social media with you and your husband and then 2 other people. Was that a part of the wedding where you guys were in those attire?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
They've, the attire in itself is just something different.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys adapt a lot of that here or not really?
There's not a lot of times when we get to wear the attire. I do get excited when I do get to wear it.
Yeah.
So actually the India Fest is coming up. It's going to be on Saturday, March 14th at the Alliance of the Arts. So my son and I are going to be in the fashion show. So we will be wearing our outfits.
Nice.
But yeah, anytime there's a wedding or something, we had the Diwali ball. They do the Diwali ball once a year here. So we did get to get dressed up for that last year.
Okay. That's beautiful. Now, leaving out of school, trying to identify where you want to take your abilities. What was that transition like, from just know that, okay, I got to move into a space where I got to understand at some point I'm going to have responsibilities I got to take care of?
I would say, I had to carry my responsibilities at a young age. I got married young. I was married at 20. We had our daughter at 20, my son at 22. So we stepped into that role at an early age.
Okay.
It was hard, young adult with 2 young kids was a struggle.
So right out of high school, you guys?
Yes.
Okay.
Right after high school, I started going to school then it was Edison. Now it's FSW, and the plan was to go there for my 2 years and then transfer somewhere in Florida. But I got married and had my kids young, and then we decided to raise the family here. So I stepped into that responsibility role at a really young age, but I always felt like I was very mature for our age. And, being a mom, it makes you,
Right. Wow.
become an adult way faster. So, yeah, transition started young. I got into banking when my daughter was 5 years old. I was 25.
Okay.
And then it just took off from there, my career in banking. And then that led to mortgages. And now I'm with a mortgage company.
Wow. So before the show, I got to learn that, your husband is actually from the Caribbean.
His family's from Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico, yeah.
Yes. He was born in New York, Long Island, New York. So he moved down here when he was in 8th grade. So we actually met in high school. We were friends our freshman year, and then we started dating our sophomore year in high school.
It's amazing. It's amazing. And because you guys are going on how many years now?
It'll actually be 26 years this month that we'll be married.
Oh, it's amazing. That's beautiful. Listen, you guys are one of those that could really go the number. When you meet those older couples, we've been married 60 years. I'm like, yo, that is pretty dope. So I'm going to assume that he's really involved and help you with the kids and all that stuff.
Yes, absolutely.
That's beautiful. Now, we're in a space right now where a lot of females have certain things that are going on with them that they don't necessarily understand. Or sometimes when they go out professionally to get those answers, they feel like they don't get the right answers. What is your take on that?
Meaning as far as like network
Just,
working?
no, just their body functioning and just trying to understand hormones, dealing with certain things and
Oh, the
how to
health
apply.
issues. Yeah. It's hard, as you know, I survived colon cancer recently. So it's getting to know your bodies.
Right.
As women, we naturally bloat. We're very self-conscious of our weight and everything. So for me, I started with bloating
Right.
early on. This was early 2024. I was bloated more than usual, but with me, every 5 years, I put on a couple pounds. I'm like, okay, I'm turning 45 this year. It's the weight, the age, I'm putting on my extra couple pounds. It's normal.
Right.
So we tend to think it's normal. A lot of us, we have these signs, these symptoms, and we just brush it off as, okay, it's just nothing, not a big deal.
Right.
So I would definitely say, when you feel something's off, get it checked out because you never know. And my bloating actually turned into an 18-centimeter mass on my ovary, which we discovered later that it was cancer.
Wow.
Once I had that removed, they found out from pathology that it wasn't ovarian cancer because we assumed it was ovarian. It was coming from my GI.
Right.
So more testing. I had to get a PET scan, colonoscopy, endoscopy. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of this, but I swallowed a pill camera.
A pill camera?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they use that to see inside of you?
Yeah, because when you get the colonoscopy and the endoscopy, there's still a space in your stomach that neither scope reaches.
Okay.
So they wanted to make sure they were seeing everything inside my body.
Wow, that is amazing.
Yeah.
I didn't even know they do it like that.
Yeah, so...
Okay, so here's a few of the things that, unfolds for female as well. And I think no one really know when to start doing those type of checkup or what are you saying for female, the minute you feel like something is off, you should go?
I think you should definitely. I don't want to scare anyone. I was actually talking to my oncologist yesterday because I'm working on putting an event together at the end of this month for colon cancer awareness. And he made a good point. He was like, you don't want to scare anyone saying, oh, you're bloated, run to the doctor, but I think if it's out of the normal, more consistent than it normally is, and you definitely should get it checked out. If everyone knows your body, if something starts to feel off, don't wait because, some people wait too long and then it's spread too far. There's too many risks to get it resolved. And even for me, I waited a few months. I noticed the bloating early on, January, February, and I felt a little uncomfortable when I would go. I started noticing pain in my abs when I would go to the gym. Only when I did ab exercises, I would feel that pain. And then I was like, okay, but then when the pain started getting more consistent, I was like, all right, something's wrong. So that was a few months. It was probably 3 months before I went to the doctors and had it checked out. But thankfully, when I did that, everything moved very quickly.
Yeah. Now, I got to ask you this question because I know, I've had the, listeners that reach out before. They're like, hey, at some point you got to guess these type of questions. For me, sometimes, I know people come back at me like, dude, but there's this one thing that guys deal with sometimes that they're like, bruv, we don't even understand. Let's say he's with a girl and she was maybe 120 pounds. And then she gained maybe 20 or 30 pounds and she's at 150. And she puts some clothes on, she looks at him and she asks him, do I look fat? How is he supposed to answer that question when she knows that she's gained a certain amount of weight? What would you say, just to help? I got you guys. What is safe? What is safe?
I honestly believe in honesty. I'm a tough love kind of girl. But it's all about the way you deliver the message. That's something I also need to work on with my family. Sometimes I'm very tough love. I'm very honest, but the delivery, it's all about the delivery. You don't want to lie to your girl and be like, hey, no.
Stay with us. We'll be right back. Every young person carries a story of hope, of struggle, of dreams waiting to rise. But in too many underserved communities, those stories go unheard.
At ease, Inc. everyone has a story. We believe every voice deserves a chance through mentorship, empowering programs and storytelling workshops. We help youth discover their purpose, strengthen their mindset, and build a future they can be proud of.
From classrooms in Jamaica to communities across Southwest Florida,
ES is changing lives,
one story at a time.
but we can't do it alone. Join us, become a mentor, volunteer, donate, help us fuel the next generation of leaders, creators, and change makers.
Visit ahasink.org today, because when you help a young person share their story, you help them change their world.
Like, no, that ain't, that's not gonna work.
Because they know inside, you know,
Right.
if I've put on 30 pounds, I'm going to
Yeah.
know when I'm going to feel off. I mean, I asked my husband, oh, if I gain 50 pounds, and he's like, I love you no matter what. You're
Right.
beautiful.
Yeah,
But, you know, inside, we all know.
yeah. But ladies just want to hear what the guys got to say. And then they get mad if they say,
That's why, yeah, it's the way you deliver it. You have to, you know, be honest, but deliver it with care and support. And, you know, maybe say, hey, why don't we start going to the gym together? Why don't we, you know, start doing it together?
right.
Let's start meal prepping. Let's plan these meals.
Yeah.
Let's, you know, not say, hey, you need to lose weight, but hey, I want to focus on my health. Let's
Right.
do this together.
Yeah. Now, you know, you becoming a mom early, but then you got into the work world.
Mm-hmm.
And most would say you've really accomplished quite a bit in the work world. How was you able to first know that, okay, you know, I got my 2 kids here, but then this is what's unfolding. What was that looking like to really say, you know what, I need to achieve this, but, you know, I know family's there as well.
So for me, I got into banking because of the kids. If you would have asked me when I was younger, I was, you know, going to follow my family's footsteps. I was going to have my own business, you know, run a business. But I actually got into banking because I was like, all right, I was working part-time in retail to avoid daycare. We were
Right.
like, why pay for daycare when it would cost me what I was probably making?
Right.
So I was like, let me work part-time. My husband worked in the daytime. I would work in the evenings in retail. And I got into banking because I was like, all right, my daughter was starting kindergarten. We would just have one in daycare. My son was 3 at that time.
Yeah.
And I was actually looking for something around their schedule. I was like, weekends off, holidays off, good hours, you're out by 4. One of my
Right.
girlfriends was actually in the banking industry, and she recommended it to me.
Okay.
And that's actually how I got into banking, because
Yeah.
I was just looking for something flexibility with the kids.
Right.
And I was always there for them. Even though I worked full time, I was at every practice. I took them, you know, on every field trip,
Beautiful.
every award ceremony. I worked around their schedule. If they
That
were
was dope.
sick, I was there. And that was the nice thing about working with a community bank. They're
Yeah.
very family oriented.
I like that.
I remember one time I got a call from school. My son was sick, and they right away were like, oh, take tomorrow off. Don't worry
Wow.
about it, you know? So,
Amazing.
and then when my kids were in high school, that's when I was like, you know what, I want to get into loans. Now, loans is more demanding, more
Right.
time, but they were older at that time. And I started off processing. I started doing the back end side. So I was still working Monday through Friday, like 9 to 5 until
Right.
COVID.
Right.
And everyone wanted to move to Florida. I was working from 8 in the morning until 8 at night.
Right.
But at that time, my daughter was out of high school. My son was a junior in high school. And
Yeah.
I became a loan officer 4 years ago. So that's when I was like, all right, my kids are young adults, this is what I want. I love helping people get into homes. There's not a greater feeling than being at that closing table and being able to say, I help you accomplish this. But it's a lot of time, so my family gives me a lot of support. I was like, I was always there for everyone to cook dinner and take the kids where they needed to go. So now this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
I love my job. So I'm out a lot networking. I'm out a lot building relationships. So my family's been really supportive of that.
Because you're pretty big in the networking space now. When would you say that was like a thing where at least every 3 months, you have knocked out? How many networking event would you say you attend in like a 3-month span?
Gosh, well, that's hard to say because I probably attend at least 3 a week.
Wow.
I'm always like, I'm just going to do 2 this week. There's sometimes I attend 5 in 1 week. Things come up and you're like, oh, that sounds like a great event. Or, you have friends. I want to support my friends. They're doing this event. So,
wow.
Yeah,
That
I would
is
say
amazing.
between 2 to 5 a week, but more roughly around 3.
Yeah. Now, Southwest Florida, for me, I just think of like 3 areas, right? Naples, Bonita, Fort Myers. I know there's, other areas, but
Right.
do you get to go to events outside of those areas, like Port Charlotte, those
I
different
do.
places?
I'm actually going to a Rotary event today in Babcock Grange.
Beautiful.
So I do. Sometimes I go to Marco. Last year, there was a time when I was really slow, and I went to Venice. I was just, I would go on
All the way
internet.
up to Venice?
Yeah.
Wow.
I would just go on the internet, go on Eventbrite and see what's happening for the week and just
That's amazing.
get in the car and go.
Now, growing up on the island, getting ready to transition to high school, what kind of music was you into?
Hip hop.
Really?
Hip hop, R&B.
Wow.
Yeah.
Who was your artist?
We loved, well, back then it was like Keith Sweat,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
I love Usher. Always loved Usher.
All right. So a lot of the New York rap as well, Biggie and all them guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The old school rap.
Not so much the pop.
A little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not too much.
Now, with a lot of individuals moving into this space right now, like in Southwest Florida, and trying to understand the social media space, networking space, and they're like, okay, I don't know what will be more fitting for me. Like for someone that's into real estate or let's say medical, what space would you tell them to look forward to?
So for real estate, I think you definitely have to have a mixture of both the social media and the networking. You have to get your face out there. I've been networking for 4 years now.
Okay.
And I feel like over the past 2 years is when people started really remembering me and recognizing me. That's after networking for 2 years. It took about that for people to be like, oh, hey, we remember seeing you. We're friends on LinkedIn. We remember you from this event. So I'm actually networking a lot more now than what I was, because now I'm getting invited to a lot more stuff. People are seeing me and recognizing me being out there. So they're reaching out. So, but social media is something I'm trying to work on getting better at. Yeah, I do my posts at events and this and that, but I really want to get into more of the videos. And so I definitely think for real estate, social media is huge. I know a lot of realtors who have become very successful by being so active on social media, but I do believe you still need to be present in the community. Now, you don't need to go out and network 3 to 5 events, a week like I do. But, I would say go to a couple. And the biggest thing is following up and making those one-on-one connections, doing the one-on-one meetings, reaching out for coffee and seeing what you can help the next person with. Because I truly believe in lifting other people up. How can you expect someone to lift you up if you're not willing to lift the person behind you up?
Right. It's a beautiful thing. You scratch your back, they scratch your back.
Yeah. It's all about collaboration and working together. And to be honest, when I started networking, I was like, let me get to all these events. Let me pass out my business cards. Let me meet all these people. And then as you grow, you learn that's not the right thing.
Right.
You know, you got to be intentional. You got to see what they want, what you can help them with, build those relationships, not just be so business. So I'm also learning as I grow.
Right. You know, people that have been in similar situation where they've possibly had colon cancer or whatever and they got rid of it, some of their biggest scare is, you know, will it come back?
Yes.
What do I do? You know, like, what do you say on that?
I would say it's definitely, so my colon cancer was not genetic. All my genetics testing came back negative. I do have an uncle who passed away a long time ago. I would say about 13, 14 years ago from colon cancer. He was 57.
Wow.
But when they caught it, it was already spread to his lungs and his livers. Yeah. So I would definitely say, you know, keep up with your colonoscopies. Now, they used to start at 50, but now they start at 45. They recommend getting your colonoscopy at 45. If you feel something's off, if you have any bleeding in your stool, you know, go get it checked out.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is nutrition.
Right.
Really pay attention to what you're putting in your body, the ingredients you're putting in there.
Right.
That's a big factor into it. And even the chemicals you're putting on your body.
Right.
You know, nowadays, everything's sprayed with some kind of chemical. Try to stay away from the fast food. I know we're all busy. We have that busy lifestyle.
Right.
Skip that drive-through, you know, try to meal prep as much as you can, but just be on top of it. I'm actually going for my follow-ups right now. I just went earlier this week and did all my blood work, and then I have to go next week for my CT scan, and then the following week with my oncologist to go over the results. But it's always that fear, you know, of, for me, you know, the holidays just passed, so I was eating more sugar than I should be eating. So you always have that fear, but, you know, just really try to stay on top of your health. And
yeah, I like that. Right now with the way, and I know things are looking a little scary right now, you know, and I know people are speaking on certain things and everything that's going on in the Middle East.
Right.
But people are fearless, you know, like they still stepping out and being, I don't even know if I would say optimistic or, but what's your take on, you know, what that's looking like and people wanting information and wondering if they're getting the right information?
That is scary.
Yeah.
You know, because a lot of people put out only what they want us to know.
That is so true. Oh,
you know,
my goodness.
you can't believe everything you see on social media. You can't believe everything you hear on the news. You know, there's so much going on that we have no idea about
what's really happening.
Yeah. To be honest, I don't watch the news.
Good.
You know, it's just, it's stressful. And I probably should be more aware of what's going on with the world. People will talk about stuff. I'm like, so what's going on?
Right.
But it's just, for me, it's just kind of protecting my peace. You know, just we deal with so much on a daily life with work, family. You know, there's so much stress that just goes on in your own life that it's it's a crazy world out there.
Now, because you got young adults right now, you know, some would say, well, what is that like communication wise, like, you know, making sure that, you know, they're still listening to you, they don't feel like they're too grown up to not listen to mom or dad? How is that challenging for you guys?
Yes, it can be. So I have one daughter and one son. My son is amazing. He's calm, he's responsible, he's respectful. You know, he can get out of line sometimes. We have to put him in his place, but he's shown that maturity and that responsibility. Like, he's 23 and he calls every 6 months and shops around for car insurance rates to lower his car insurance. Yeah, and I don't have to tell him to do that.
Yeah, wow.
He learned from me doing it.
Yeah.
You know, so he listens. He comes to me for advice. He'll call me and we'll talk. And I know he listens and he takes it in. And my daughter, she's loves to socialize and be out and, you know, have a good time. And we get into it a lot.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
because they're young adults. So we all say we wish we knew what we know now back then. So I try to coach them and guide them as much as I can because I want them to be successful by 30, you know?
Yeah.
I don't want them to go through the struggles I went through. So I just try to guide them as much as I can. And when I'm on social media and I see like good quotes or informative information on health, we have group messages and I'm texting it to everyone. And sometimes I'll see a lot of stuff and I'll blow up their phones. I'm like, Mom, seriously? I'm like, make sure you read it. Make sure you watch the video.
That is so
but
cool.
Yeah. So sometimes you get a lot of, but mostly with my daughter, I get a lot of, you know, little attitude back and, you know, I know Mom and, you know, you don't have to say the same thing over and over, but I do hear from other family members that she's listening. She may not act like it, but she's listening. So it's just staying on top of them. And I'm a little controlling, you know, I like to know what's going on all the time and just making sure they're, you know, staying on the right path. But it's because I worry. I'm a worrier. You know, I just want nothing but for the best for them. But sometimes, like I said, and before, I need to work on my delivery as well because sometimes I can come across too harsh and too bold, and I need to respect their feelings. You know, we all have feelings.
Now, you doing what you guys are doing, your husband's doing what he's doing. What is the ideal place for you guys to just take a break and go?
For vacation?
Yeah.
I love the islands.
Okay.
So I just think they're very relaxing.
Yes.
We went to Costa Rica for one of our anniversaries, and that was my favorite vacation for just us two.
Nice.
It was just, the people were so nice. Like, it was so relaxing. I didn't want to come back. Usually after vacation, we're always ready to come home. We're not ready to get back to reality, but you're ready to get back to your own home and just your family and everything. But when we left Costa Rica, I did not want to come back. It was actually right after COVID. It was 21, and our trip got postponed a year. We were supposed to go in 2020.
Right.
And I was like, we had to get tested. We had to find a doctor in Costa Rica and get tested for COVID before we could get on the airplane.
Yeah.
And I was like, I would be okay if we came back positive.
We could go back and hang out.
Yeah.
What is a relationship like with siblings?
It's good. So I have an older sister. She's a year and a half older than me.
Okay.
She's always traveling for work. She's been traveling for work since, I think, a year after I got married. So I was 21. She was 22, almost 23.
So she's a professional now with traveling.
Yes. She's been everywhere. She's all over the place. She works in Alaska 5 months out of the year. She's based in New York. Outside of that, but then she was in St. Thomas this week. She's actually headed here tonight, and then she's back to New York on Saturday. But
that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, she's traveling all over the place. My brother's here, local. He's 10 years younger than me.
Okay.
He works in construction. So, but he's the greatest guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is. He's a good guy. You know, it's hard to say that about a lot of people nowadays. And I'm not saying that about just because he's my brother, because my sister, that's a completely different story. But he's an amazing human being.
Awesome.
So, we have a good relationship. We weren't close when we were young. My sister and I were always close because we're a year and a half apart. And that's why I wanted my kids close in age, because I saw the gap. Me and my brother, when he was 6, I was 16. He wants to hang out with their 6-year-old brother. You know, I was out of the house when I was 20. He was only 10. So it was really important for me to have my kids close in age. But as adults, you know, you tend to grow closer.
Definitely. Now, relationship with Mom, you still get to connect with her a lot, or?
Yes, I talk to my mom every single day, several times a day. Sometimes it's a little too much, but we spend a lot of time together. You know, my parents are older. My mom's 75, my dad's 85. With my mom, it's easier to spend time with because we do a lot together. We go shopping together. We run our errands together. So we're spending time and we're getting stuff done.
Is cooking involved in that as well?
No, you know, she is an amazing cook, my mom. She doesn't cook as much as she used to. But she is a good cook. And I always say I need to spend more time with her cooking. Danny, my husband, will tell you that all the time. you know, I need to spend more time with my mom to learn how to cook more Indian food. But that's, you know what? I'm going to do that.
There you go. I like
I'm
that.
going to spend a day with my mom. And then my dad, I always make sure I visit him. I try to visit him at least once a week. Sometimes it turns into, you know, every 2 weeks. But,
Okay.
you know, they're getting older and they live 5 minutes away from me.
Nice.
So that is nice. But yeah, just when you think about it, you're just like, you never know how much time you have left. You never know. Tomorrow's not promised. So we got to make time for our parents and those relationships.
So who does the cooking more, you or your husband?
My husband.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I did it for a long time, but ever since I got into loans, he's been taking over the cooking just because.
So he does throw it down then.
Oh, he's a better cook than me.
Ooh.
My kids will tell you.
You're like, Mom's cooking today.
Yeah.
We have no high expectations.
You know how when you're always like, oh, my mom makes this. Like, my mom makes the best chicken curry. Everyone, our family, our friends will tell you she's an amazing cook. Her chicken curry is amazing. My mother-in-law, they're Puerto Rican, so she makes amazing Spanish food.
Right.
And I always say, you know, when my kids grow up, what are they going to say about, oh, their mom makes this amazing dish? I don't know what they're going to tell their kids. Or
There's not really a specific dish that
I can actually make a good lasagna, believe it or not.
Okay.
I do get asked to make a lasagna.
There you go. So at least they have something that they can say, you know what, Mom did that.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing. You know, for people that are interested in getting a home, wanting to know what that process looked like, because at some point they got to come see you.
Right.
What does that look like?
So first, we always have the basic conversation. You know, I always want to know about my clients, the type of work they do, self-employed, if they work for a company, what their expectations are, what they're looking for. You know, the main thing is to make sure we're providing the best service for the client.
Right.
I always start with a pre-approval. So we always start with an application because that lets us see your income, your debts. You know, we send you out there with the right budget. So you're not looking for something out of your budget or even below your budget.
Right.
Sometimes people think they could only, you know, afford so much when they could do a little bit more. But the main thing is the payment. We want to make sure they're comfortable with that payment. We don't want them to overextend themselves where they're just like, oh my gosh, you know, all I can afford is to pay my mortgage. We don't want that for the client. So I start with an application, do the pre-approval. We only do a soft credit pull. We don't do a hard credit pull until they're ready to move forward because we don't want to affect their credit if they're not 100% sure just at that point. But yeah, just building that relationship, getting that pre-approval done for them, and sending them shopping.
Someone that has below 550, do you guys even give them the time of day?
We do.
Oh,
we may not be able to help them with the loan at that time. You know, actually, FHA, you can have below a 580. Everyone knows, okay, FHA, 580 credit score. It's 3.5% down. But if you have below a 580, you can do an FHA loan, but it requires more down payment. It's not going to be the 3.5% down. So we can help them. But usually when their credit score is that low, you're running into higher interest rates, some other stuff. So I work with them and I guide them. You know, we work on a plan. Hey, you know what? Maybe if you could pay this off or get these down, you know, we look through their report and we come up with a plan. You may not be ready to buy a house right now, but maybe 3 months, maybe 6 months, maybe in a year. So there's always room for everyone.
I like that. I like that. So you have a lot of realtor friends.
I do.
Yeah.
I need more.
Yeah. This is so cool. And you know, we live in a state where some would say most of the people here are realtors.
There are a lot of realtors.
Yeah. I was in a room the other day. I was the only person that was not a realtor.
Really?
Yeah, that was wild. But I got to say, I've been in some spaces where I get to see you as well, mingling with especially people in Naples and stuff like that. Do you find yourself now sometime more trying to get engaged with some of those conversations down there, or
In
Networking
Naples?
event? Yeah.
So I've been networking in Naples since I became a loan officer.
Okay.
So I've built a lot of relationships over there.
Yeah.
And I really like the relationships I've built, and I want to maintain them and keep up with them. But I actually want to get more involved in Lee County.
Okay.
This is where I live. This is my backyard. I want to
Right.
help people in my community as well.
Yeah.
So I'm still going to continue to be in Naples. I
Right.
usually go to Naples twice a week, and then I try to stay in Fort Myers 3 days a week.
Right. Now, for people that want to find you, where can they find you and how can they find you?
So the best way to get a hold of me is my cell. Call me, text me at 239-849-6886. You can follow me on social media. Everything's under my name, Puja Romero. You can email me at the office, promero@mvmgrp.com. Those are the best ways to get a hold of me. I'm very old school, Messenger and DMs. I'm not the best at getting back to those right away, but my phone, I always have my phone on me. Anyone can call me, text me if they have any questions. And I'm here to guide you.
Right.
You know, I'm here to just advise you and guide you and help you.
For females that's not sure about themselves or their purpose, what would you say to them? What would you say to them going out?
I would say everyone has a purpose. You know, sometimes it takes longer to find your purpose. So just stay positive, keep going, don't ever give up. You know, sometimes it hits you at random times when you don't expect it. Like when I got diagnosed with colon cancer, I was very positive going through it. And now after that, I feel like, okay, I love helping people with loans. You know, I love helping getting them into a home. But now I feel like I have a bigger purpose to spread awareness, you know. So people are following up on their health. And that was just not even 2 years ago. So I'm in my mid-40s. So you just never know. Just be open, stay open, you know.
I love that. 2 concerts going on at the same time. Chris Brown, Usher. Which show you going to?
Probably Usher.
Oh. Sorry, Chris. We tried, bro. We tried. This has been wonderful, you know, just getting to know you and what
thank
that
you
like.
for having me.
Yes, this was wonderful to have you on the show today. Thank you for hanging out with us.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, guys, there you have it. Another exciting, wonderful, entertaining guest here where you guys get to get a little bit of her tale. And so until our next episode where we have another decorative guest right here, Yes Club. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in and downloading this episode of Stories to Create. We appreciate you being part of this growing community of storytellers and listeners. If today's conversation inspired you, please share the show with friends, family, or anyone who could use a little motivation in their journey. A special thank you to our sponsors, EHAS Organization, Cornell Bunting LLC, and Nostril Cheese Chase for supporting the mission and making this podcast possible. To learn more about our work, upcoming projects, and how you can get involved, be sure to visit www.hissinggorge and www.cornellbunting.com. Until next time, keep creating, keep growing, and remember, your story has power.